Hi everyone, this is Frank Demora with the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. I'm just going to take a very short period of time to talk about dreams and how, for Christians, it's very important to write down in detail the dreams that you have and to find out whether these dreams are actually coming from God or maybe they're just dreams and there isn't any significance for the dreams. But you should really write these things down in detail. I was encouraged to do so by a really close friend of mine, and it's a really good practice. Now, I've been blessed recently to see some of my dreams actually come to pass. Now, one of the things that I've learned since I became a Christian, and when the Lord did send me some dreams, and during the course of my life as a Christian, I think I haven't counted them all, but there were about 5 or 6 really strong dreams that I knew that it came from God. And some of these dreams I just didn't have the knowledge of what they meant, but I want to give you a few examples of why it's so important to write these things down. But one of the things that I did do is every time that I had a dream that I felt it came from the Lord, I told people close to me, my wife, my family members, some of my Christian friends, exactly in detail what I dreamt about. And so they would become my witnesses just in case that the thing that I saw actually came to pass. Now, I want to give you 2 examples of what I'm talking about. About 3 or 4 years ago, I had a very vivid dream, and I'm going to tell you the dream and I'm going to show you what happened recently. In the dream, I was in a arid place. It looked like it was a dry, arid place in this huge area looking out. It looked, in the dream, I thought it looked to me like a place of, like Africa. And again, I told people about this. And so when I was looking out, there was a tree in front of me, and this tree was shaped like an umbrella. And after telling my wife about the dream, years later, as we were watching TV programs that had to do with Africa, once in a while I would see a tree that looked like in my dream, and I would point it out to my wife, saying, "Look, Terry, look, that's what the tree looked like in my dream." And so we had a concept of, what it looked like. So in my dream, as I was placed, now you have to understand, the dreams that I've been dreaming, it was very difficult to tell whether I was actually dreaming or I was actually there. I mean, that's how vivid and real these things were. As far as I was concerned, I was at this place, living through what I was seeing. So I was in this arid place that I thought would be a place like Africa, because when I looked at the tree, it looked like something that would be from Africa. And as I was standing there, this tree, there was a violent shaking. I've never seen any shaking like this before. The ground started to move, and the tree, if you could picture this, the tree swaying all the way to the left, and the branches coming down and almost hitting the ground, and then swaying to the other side, to the right. And it just kept going on, swaying back and forth like this violently. And the Lord brought it back down to the trunk and looking at the ground, and I was looking at the ground and I was amazed. I could see the dirt coming up as the tree moved back and forth. And one of the things in the dream that I was very, very amazed at, and I even said it, is I can't believe that the roots are not coming out of the ground, because I thought with this violent shaking that definitely the tree would fall over, and I was expecting the roots to come popping out of the ground, which it never did. Now, on the side of the tree, right to the right side of the tree, there was a large, long telephone pole, an old telephone pole. And in the telephone pole didn't have any lines that were hooked up to it that would be able to make any phone calls. But so I didn't understand what it was doing there. But when the when the movement was taking place and there was a great shaking like this, it was only the tree that was swaying. The telephone pole never moved, and I thought this very curious. And so the dream ended, and I didn't have any clarification about what this was all about. I just remembered it. I told the people close to me about this, and that was it. Now, recently I had another dream, and I'm going to pull both of these things together for you. I had another dream, and in this dream I was in what I perceived to be like an auditorium. And I was, if you could picture, in this auditorium, I was at the bottom of the auditorium, and there was a rail that I was leaning on, this rail. And as I looked up, I could see stairs, or like a stadium, like steps leading up. And as I was looking at those, looking backwards, looking at the steps, or almost like a, like a football stadium, very small, but going upwards, all of a sudden I was lifted up and I was glided back to the very top of this area that I was just looking at. And when I looked down, now I can see everything below me, and as I looked down, I saw two huge doors that were probably 20 feet high. And just picture the two doors like this, and beautiful, just the beautiful wood and whatnot. And all of a sudden I was lifted up, and I started to move like I was flying slowly towards these doors. I left the area that I was in from all the way in the back of this auditorium, and I started to fly towards the doors. And as I came towards the door, I flinched like this, and if you can imagine in my dream, just turning, because I thought I was going to smash head first into the doors. And just as I got there, the doors just swung open, and I passed through the door. And then there was another set of doors just like it again, and this time I started to move a little bit faster. When I came up on this set of doors, I again turned my head away because I thought I was going to hit it. And just before I got to the doors opened up again like they did the first set of doors. And this time, when I went through the doors, I looked to the side. I remember turning to the left side and saying to Jesus, "Jesus, I love you." And that's all I said. And then we started to move faster. I was alone, but I knew I was being guided by Jesus, and I started to move faster and faster. And every time that I would move faster, there was another set of these doors. And this time, in the third set of the doors, I didn't bother turning around because I knew that I was with God and I was going to be safe. And so we went through the third set of doors, and the doors opened up. And after that, we jetted through. I mean, we just started to go almost like the speed of light, and the Lord showed me every single door that we came up to, the doors, these sets, would automatically open fast. I mean, it came faster and faster, and I just went right through. And so I woke up after that. Oh, and before I woke up, as we were going through these last sets of doors before I woke up, the Lord told me, "Do not fear," and the dream ended. So I had, a lot of, like I said, I didn't understand the dreams, and you just need to pray about it. And then last week I got a phone call from some people that I've been helping out in Kenya. And I was asked to do a speech, an hour and a half speech in a university in Kenya, in specifically Nairobi, Kenya, which I agreed to. I mean, the Lord opens the doors. I wanted to go through the door to do that. So I asked him what was the name of the university. He gave me the name of the university, and I told him, we'll do this. It's fine. And we made preparations to do the interview by Skype, where they can actually see me give the speech as they would project me on the screen. So that after I hung up, I just had a premonition that now that I know that the premonition came from the Lord Jesus, to go and search on the internet to try to find what this university looked like. Now the first site, because I was going to put this information up at my website to tell the people in case they'd be able to listen to this interview somehow, that I wanted to show them where I was going to be and so forth. And so I went to a website. Now the first website, the Lord said, I want you to stop here to check this out. I clicked the link and I started to scroll down, and this is what came up. I'm going to show you the first picture. This is the picture. You see this tree there? This is in Kenya. And you won't be able to see it too well, but there's a red printing right here, and it tells you about Nairobi. And this is the tree in my dream that started to shake violently over and over. What you're seeing here is almost a carbon copy of where I was in that dream. If you could picture me standing right in front of this tree looking out towards the sun in this wide open arid area, I really believe that this is where I was. And Friday or Saturday, September 17th, I actually gave the speech. We had technical difficulties, but I did address the crowd of 3,000 people in Nairobi, Kenya, the university there in Nairobi. And so I thought, oh my Lord, when I saw this picture, I said, are you kidding me? You mean to tell me, Lord, you revealed this picture to me 3.5 to 4 years ago to show me where I was going to be teaching in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, 4 years later? And I asked the Lord, I said, I didn't have any confirmation about the telephone pole. I asked, what does this mean? And so when I was dreaming, thinking, contemplating about this, the Lord came to me in Revelation and told me what the pole was all about. And this is what the pole was all about. He said, the pole, the tree was signifying that I was going to preach in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, and that there was going to be a great shaking because of this. And the pole signified that, and because in the dream there was, in detail, there wasn't any lines hooked up to the pole, and the Lord told me that even because you will be going to preach to the Kenya people, you will, and he showed me how it was going to be done, and he said there wasn't any lines hooking up to this telephone pole because you would do it by the internet where there's no lines. It was just right over the line where they projected me on the screen. So everything that the Lord showed me, he said that the reason why there wasn't a shaking of the pole is because you weren't there, but just the symbology of the telephone pole saying that it wasn't moved because you were someplace else as you were preaching the word. And that came to pass on September 17th, just a few days ago. And I was completely floored, to just blown away of these vivid, true pictures that have come to pass. Now I don't believe that it was a coincidence that I am now very active of preaching in Nairobi, Kenya, and there's going to be a great shaking there. I can tell you that right now. And they've already asked me to do another a speech in October if we're here. But this is part of what I need to show you. Now there's one part that I just learned about that has to do with these same dreams, and I'm going to share with you the second part and bring it all together. And I think you're going to be probably just as amazed as I was to see what the Lord just did for me. So scroll down and I'll explain the second part. Thanks.